On today's Primetime Local News, the recreational fees policy hasn't been updated since 1990. Why Council is divided on updating it now.
Is it fair for the residents of the Lloydminster city as taxpayers to support the usage of, individuals from outside the city?
And grade 7 students at Father Gorman learn how to grow fruits and vegetables using a tower garden.
This generation of students is going to be a huge part on how we as humans are going to survive for future generations.
Plus, expert advice on how to care for your car during the freezing cold weather.
Prime Time Local News, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening, I'm Judy Gabriel. City Council is divided about updating a 1990 recreational fees policy for 2020. In addition to the Recreational User and Rental Fees, Council is looking at updating the city's 30-year-old recreational fees policy. But one of the conversations around the new draft is the idea of different costs for facility users who live in the city and those who don't. Josh Ryan has more.
The discussion around out-of-town recreation users paying more than those in town is one that carries more nuance than at first glance.
I've been approached by people asking why we don't charge people from out of town, from Edmonton or Sherwood Park, visiting our city and using our facilities more money. It's not an easy step.
With facility costs expected to rise across the city, Council is exploring multiple ways to continue managing these subsidies.
If the numbers are really high, the question we're asking, I guess, is it fair for the residents of the Lloydminster city as taxpayers to support the usage of, individuals from outside the city?
Implementing different fees for out-of-towners carries several complications, from resources to specifying what counts for valid addresses.
In our city, and as it was used, people have box numbers. So postal codes aren't the easiest perspective.
There is a precedent for neighboring communities supporting Lloydminster recreation, though there isn't anything specific or consistent.
And it's not really tied to any sort of formula or number or anything. It's based on the goodwill of our neighbors, recognizing that residents from the county or municipality make use of our resources.
Supporting operational costs for a pool or similar facilities is potentially a good financial decision for smaller centers.
Our landfill, we have fees for external users because they recognize that, in order to build a landfill, it costs money. So they support us through the operational side.
Before any serious thought on the matter comes into play, engaging with those neighbors is first.
As encompassing as you can as a community, because the community is made up of more than just our own community. At the same time, the costs are hopefully being spread among us as well. And I think that's what we're trying to find, that balance.
Josh Ryan, Primetime Local News.
This week has had some of the coldest temperatures so far this fall, and making sure your cars are prepared for the winter is crucial as the temperatures are dropping fast. Starting your car 10 to 15 minutes before you leave in the morning is a must, and making sure your car is plugged in while parked as well. Tires may also drop in air pressure quicker in cold temperatures.
Most vehicles now have TPMS tire sensors in them that tell you if your tires are low. And that's standard when it gets cold, that your tire pressures will probably drop 5 pounds. So most people's tire lights will come on during the winter. Nothing to worry
There are
about.
also a few other tips for drivers that may commonly be forgotten in cold temperatures.
Probably just a good idea in cold weather. You should just make sure your vehicle is properly maintained, make sure your charging system, your battery is good, and your proper oil changes, proper maintenance. Spark plugs, to get them checked if you've got high kilometers. A lot of people don't check their coolant, see if it's good enough strength. If it's good for minus 35, it should be good for minus 30 minimum anyways.
And if you're warming up your car, make sure to lock your doors to prevent it from being stolen. The RCMP held a check stop with a special guest to hand out some candy canes. Mayor Albers joined the RCMP yesterday afternoon with a check stop to help inform residents on the dangers of impaired driving. For the mayor, he warns the last thing he wants to see during the holidays is impaired drivers.
If you're under the influence of anything, please call, get a cab, call a friend, find a different way home than riding in the back of one of those, because it's not going to be a very pleasant experience for yourself, your family, your employer, anyone that loves you and is dear to you. That's going to change your life. So please don't drink and drive.
Last year, Lloydminster had 240 different impaired driving cases opened. For the RCMP, they'll just spread the message until the number of intoxicated drivers decrease.
It's an important message to reinforce at key moments throughout the year, and the holiday season is one of them. I want to make sure that people are, if they are going to be out celebrating the holidays, they do so responsibly and safely, and that if they are going to be drinking, please don't drive.
And yesterday was a success as no one in the check stop was arrested for impaired driving. Have you ever thought about what it would be if we needed to find new ways to grow food? That's exactly what the grade 7 students are doing at Father Gorman School. Along with learning about sustainability and ways to grow food, they're actually growing a little garden. In this week's Beyond the Classroom, our Abby St. John checked out the unique garden the students are working on.
The grade 7 students at Father Gorman School are learning about sustainability and are looking at different ways to grow food by using a tower garden.
As our human population grows, we need to find a way to feed all the people. So the tower garden, it uses aeroponic technology, which allows us to grow food inside regardless of the weather outside.
The tower garden works by water running up the tower and to the pods where the plant is growing. The students got to choose what they wanted to plant in their pods.
I am growing arugula, and it's used to cleanse out toxins in your body, and it is high in vitamin B's.
I'm growing kale and lettuce. I chose kale and lettuce because I never heard of kale, but lettuce, I kind of like lettuce.
By having the students grow their own plants in the tower, it better engages them in what they're learning.
We really want to improve our student engagement as much as we possibly can. So having students interact with something like the tower garden allows them to feel, touch, smell, allow them to not only just work, instead of having just a worksheet, like putting things into action in the classroom.
According to Mitch Cherry, the students are excited to come into class every day and see if their plant has grown anymore.
The students are honestly quite amazed where it starts out as just a small little seed, and to see the opportunity of something growing and growing quickly. The tower garden actually provides plants, they grow 30% faster than in normal soil because of the UV lights and the continuous water flow. So we're able to produce more plants quickly. So it allows students to come in and take a look every single day and see a difference in how their plant is growing.
The students will continue to grow more plants until the end of the school year. For this week's Beyond the Classroom, I'm Abby St. John.
Don't wait until next fall to take charge of your future. Apply to Lakeland College today. For details or to apply, visit lakelandcollege.ca today.
And now we head out to our Evan Kenny, who's live on location right now.
Live at the Civic Center ahead of the Northeast matchup between the Bonnyville Pontiacs and the home Lloydminster Bobcats. Joining me is the Bobcats head coach and GM Nigel Dubé. Nigel, now in the last 3 games, you guys have dropped 2 of those 3, both of them being to the Spruce Grove Saints. What are you guys looking to change heading into tonight's matchup?
Well, I think for us it's more finding our effort that we had on Friday in Onion Lake against Fort McMurray, and the puck supports and the puck touches need to be there, and we were off. We came back in the third and played a solid third period, but we were way off in the first 2. So a big 60 minutes here, but we just got to go by period.
Now, in that game in Onion Lake against the Fort McMurray Oil Barons, you guys scored a couple late goals and a couple quick ones to get you back in the momentum. How big is getting that momentum right off the bat in this game tonight?
Well, we got to find ways to get out front early and play with the energy that we have. We found at the late part of the games. We have to find out the early part of the games and sustain that through the 3 periods, which is a lot to ask. But when you get into December hockey, that's got to be the expectation.
Now, Nigel, this is your 3rd matchup against the Bonnyville Pontiacs. Quickly here, just what are a couple keys to try and find success tonight?
Well, it's been a long time since we played them. I think it's been over a month, and a lot has changed on both teams. And we want to see where we stack with them tonight here. But a big part is, like we talked about, getting out early, getting going, and playing hard the whole time, and just having that presence on the ice for 60 minutes.
Well, you heard it here. First 60 minutes is what it's going to take in order for the Bobcats to win. We'll be back at the Civic Center with more, but first, back to the studio.
Thanks, Evan. Well, it is minus 18 here right now in Lloydminster. Fairly cloudy skies. It didn't snow as much as I had said yesterday, which could have been a good thing. 19-kilometer-per-hour winds coming in from the east-southeast, making it feel like closer to minus 28 with that wind chill. We didn't get any snow, but we still got that freezing weather, which isn't so nice to deal with. Minus 20 out in Cold Lake, minus 16 in Athabasca, minus 13 in Edmonton, minus 12 in Red Deer, minus 14 in Whitecourt, minus 1 in Jasper, minus 11 in Edson, and minus 10 out in Rocky Mountain House. And on the Saskatchewan side, minus 20 in Meadow Lake, minus 25 in Prince Albert, minus 27 in Melfort, minus 22 in Saskatoon, and minus 21 out in North Battleford. And overnight in North Battleford, they'll have a little bit more cloud coverage as they head into later into this evening, with the temperature at minus 20, and that wind will stay steady at 15 kilometers per hour coming from the east-southeast, which will pick up to 17 kilometers per hour tomorrow coming in from the east, with a daytime high of minus 15. In Cold Lake overnight, they'll remain at minus 20, and that wind will stay steady coming in from the same direction, the east-southeast at 11 kilometers per hour, which will remain at 11 tomorrow coming in from the east, with a daytime high of minus 15 and a chance of snow throughout the day. Here in Lloydminster overnight, there's about a 30% chance of some snowfall. It's a pretty low chance, but it's still there, with the temperature dropping to minus 19, and that wind will be at 11 kilometers per hour coming in from this, or 13 kilometers per hour coming in from the southeast, and then it will be 11 kilometers per hour coming in from the east tomorrow, with a daytime high of minus 15 and a low of minus 19. However, that wind chill will make it feel like closer to minus 24. On Friday, it will be a high of minus 18, which will feel like minus 26 with that wind chill, and a low of minus 20. On Saturday, it will be a mix of sun and cloud with a high of minus 13 and a low of minus 21. However, it will feel like minus 23. That wraps up your 3-day forecast. We'll have more news coming up after the break.
This past Saturday saw some of the toughest cowboys in the toughest sport on dirt. Our Evan Kenny reports on one rider whose determination to get back on the horse even after a setback has proven that he has outlasted the best of the best and shown that he is better than the rest.
The Canadian Cowboy.
Like fine wine, he's getting a little older, but he might be getting better.
Aaron Roy has been in the sport for 14 years. At age 33, most riders would be retired, but for Roy, he's not ready to end.
When I was riding, it's more, I'm in it for just the love of the game again, not really a job anymore. I'm just going out there to do it, not traveling as much anymore, staying close to home, and just really enjoying riding bulls again. I think that's kind of excelling. It's taken a while, but kind of getting back to my form now.
On his resume, 3 PBR Canada wins, the highest earning Canadian ever, and 5-time Glenn Keeley Award winner, just to name a few.
14 years of bull riding takes its toll on any man, and Roy is no exception. Over the last 6 years, Roy has suffered serious injuries to his leg and his back.
Yeah, definitely. After the first one, I broke my back. I was kind of riding at an all-time high. It's the highest I've ever been in the world standings, and I was feeling really good riding at that time. And when I broke my back, it kind of put me down and set me out for 18 months of the competition. So getting back on that first one is pretty hard, but after I got on the first one in the practice pen, I realized, yeah, I can still do it, nothing's affecting me, and got back on.
And since then, Roy has 5 event wins and has come back in top form.
Yeah, it's bull riding, and you got to stay in shape, and it's a physically demanding sport, and it's a high injury sport too. Some guys get lucky, and some guys injuries stop their career. I've been lucky to keep going, but not so lucky. I've had some major injuries too.
Evan Kenny, Primetime Local Sports.
And now for a look at the weather, here's our Abby St. John.
Thanks, Judy. We'll take a look at our satellite radar. Heavy snow still out in the Edmonton-Vegreville area, making its way through most of Alberta, Bonnyville, St. Paul, Lac-La-Biche, all experiencing some snowfall as it continues to make its way further east. We did see that there was a chance of snow yesterday, last night, and into today, this morning, but that didn't really seem to happen, which I'm not really complaining about that, but definitely something that could happen. There is a 30% chance that we could experience some flurries tonight and into tomorrow as well, around 2 centimeters. In Macklin, Maidstone, the snow is heading its way down there as well and into North Battleford as well. So definitely be cautious as it is still freezing. So there is a heavy risk of frostbite throughout most of the region. -18 still here in Lloydminster, as well as in Maidstone, -17 in Macklin, -21 in Meadow Lake, Green Lake, Pierceland, and North Battleford, -20 in St. Walburg, and -29 up in Isla Cross. And on the Alberta side, -18 in Marwayne and St. Paul, -17 in Provost, Wainwright, Vermilion, and Lac-La-Biche, -20 in Cold Lake, -16 in Vegreville, and -13 out in Edmonton. And tomorrow, a daytime high of -15 here in Lloydminster, as well as in Marwayne, St. Paul, Bonnyville, Cold Lake, and Lac-La-Biche, -14 in Wainwright, Vermilion, and Vegreville, -13 in Provost and in Edmonton. And on the Saskatchewan side, -15 in Green Lake, Pierceland, Meadow Lake, Maidstone, and in North Battleford, -12 in Macklin, -18 out in Isla Cross, and -14 in St. Walburg. Overnight across the region, fairly cloudy skies in most parts of the region. Provost is sitting fairly clear, sitting at -17, and then the rest of the region fairly cool at with a range between -29 and -17. Your school day forecast for tomorrow at 8 a.m. it'll be -17 with mostly cloudy skies, which will be the trend for the majority of the day. At recess, it will remain at -17. And then by the time lunch rolls around, it will have warmed up just 1 degree to -16, and then it will remain -16 till school's out. But be cautious, as that wind chill will make it feel cooler than it actually is, so make sure you're all bundled up when you go outside. And then there will be a low of -19 for tomorrow. And then on Friday, it will be a high of -18 and a low of -20. To start your weekend off on Saturday, it will be a mix of sun and cloud with a high of -13 and a low of -21. And then on Sunday, a little bit more sun than on Saturday with a high of -13 as well and a low of -17. To start your week off on Monday, it'll be a high of -13 as well, with mostly cloudy skies and a low of -20. On Tuesday, it'll be a high of -14 and a low of -23. And then on Wednesday, it'll be a high of -8 and a low of -19 with a mix of sun and cloud. That wraps up your 7-day forecast. We'll have more news and the question of the day coming up after the break.
Once again, back at the Civic Center ahead of the matchup between the 8th place Lloydminster Bobcats and the 3rd place Bonnyville Pontiacs. This time joining me is Bobcats forward and assistant captain Chance Adrian. Chance, now heading into this game, you guys have played Bonnyville twice already this season. What are a couple keys in, finding success in this game?
I think for us, we got to play our own game. Bonnyville's a team that plays fast. They're a team from just down the highway, so I'd say it's our biggest rival. We don't really like playing against them, so it should be a physical game tonight.
Now, Chance, in your guys' last matchup where you hosted them once again, they scored 2 power play goals on you guys. Those were the only 2 goals that they got. So how big is discipline for your team this game?
Oh, I think it's huge. In any game, they have a pretty good power play. Like you said, they scored the 2 the last time. But, yeah, I think for us it's being just disciplined and sticking to our game plan.
Now, Chance, as one of the veterans and captains on this team, do you think you have to lead the way in that department?
Yeah, totally. For me, being a leader, I like to be a guy that leads by example as well as saying things when they need to be said. And for me, if the leaders aren't doing it, then you can't expect the guys to follow you.
Chance, over your last few games here, you have 4 points in 2 games. And if we stretch it even a little further back, adding more points as well as a fight, what's been the keys to your success and possibly your team's success in that stretch?
I think for me, being an older guy, just having confidence, coming into the rink every day, just having a lot of fun. I know we haven't been winning a ton lately, but for me, just enjoying every minute of it. It's my last year, so I'm just trying to enjoy everything and just come into the rink with a positive attitude and just have a lot of fun.
What's the vibe like in the dressing room ahead of these kind of games? Bonnyville, they're one of your biggest rivals, so is it a little different versus, say, somebody like Okotoks?
Yeah, totally. We see these guys a lot throughout the year, and even over from last year, all the guys know that they're a team that we don't like. They're a very physical team. We're physical. Yeah, it's just a really, really gritty game, so we're excited.
Well, this gritty game, the Bobcats will look to take it to the Bonnyville Pontiacs. The Pontiacs have won the best of the Bobcats so far this season, taking the series 2-0 thus far, but we'll see if things will change tonight. We'll be back from the Civic Center with more later on.
Well, it's that time again for question of the day. And Kris Jenner is giving her friends Botox for Christmas. So we came up with this question. Do you think it's possible to give your friends an offensive gift? Well, I don't know. Botox might be something different because she does it all the time.
I think if you know the friend super well,
yeah,
you will know if how they'll react to a certain gift.
You hope they will know, because you never know.
Because I know she's done it multiple times before, and all of her friends have loved it.
Yeah.
And they know that she's not coming from a place of maliciousness.
Totally.
So I think that she knows her friends well enough to be like, yeah, I can get this for them, and they won't mind.
Yeah.
Or like something like buying your wife a workout machine. People think that's really crazy and controversial. But what if they asked for one?
If they ask for one, yes. But when you give it to them and if the lady feels, it depends on the person, I think. They might get offended. If it's inappropriate gifts or cards that you give somebody, maybe they'll get offended.
Yeah, I just don't think people outside the circle can really judge because they don't know if the person asked for it or not, so they really have no place.
Yeah, it's interesting. Anyway, ones that won't get offended if we got them some gifts are these pets. Thanks for sending your pets for a chance for a gift card from the Pet Pad. Take a look at these cuties.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to have them featured on Pet of the Day. Your name will be entered into a weekly draw for a gift certificate from the Pet Pad.
We are here with Tyler Lorenz, Program Director from Residents of Recovery Society here in Lloyd. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Good to have you here.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
So let's talk a little bit, before we start on all the stuff that we want to discuss, let's talk a little bit about you. Obviously, you're part of this, and you started this back when you were in recovery for 29 years.
Well, I was in active addiction for 29 years.
Okay.
I've been clean and sober now for nearly 4 years.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was an idea that came to me actually while I was doing the addiction and social worker program at Reeves College. So, and kind of put it all together with the help of a lot of people in the community.
Of course.
Yeah.
We're going to take you back a little bit more too. I mean, you went through a lot, obviously. 29 years of addiction, plus you went to jail.
Mm-hmm.
You went through all of that. And you had a aha moment for yourself, right? And that's when you did your diploma, and then you got your...
For sure. Yeah, I was, I grew up in Lloydminster, and, my addiction started rather young, drinking when I was a teenager, and, had a few episodes back then, and then it just progressed and got worse and worse, and I moved around quite a bit, and job to job, and I did try going to Thorpe about 8-9 years ago, and it just didn't work for me at the time, and I ended up back in my addiction, and over the next 5 years after that, I spent quite a few trips to jail, and the last time I was in jail, I actually got some support in Medicine Hat when I was down there, and decided that I would try this recovery thing, and seemed
There
to
you
stick
are.
this time. So.
Yeah, and it's such a hard thing. I think being addicted to anything is a hard thing to get out of that. You did it. 4 years later, you're here. Tell us a little bit about what you see and how hard it is here in Lloydminster to see a lot of different people come through those doors. What do you see a lot of?
You know, it is hard, and there's a lot of people struggling in Lloyd. I mean, we've seen over 250 individuals, you know, do intakes or applications in the 1 year that we've been in business. So, I mean, the demand is there for the services that we offer. Our houses are full. I think we have a waiting list of 78 people. You know, programming's full every day. We see a wide range of addiction issues, you know, pretty much, you know, every drug out there and alcohol, and it's pretty prevalent in our community for sure, as it is with most.
For sure. And we're going to talk a lot about the different things that you guys are doing as well too. Young kids are also, a lot of them are coming up here, addiction to drugs, to alcohol and everything. What would you say to that?
Well, I mean, it boils down to, you know, becoming aware of, you know, what you're doing.
Yeah.
But I mean, to tell a child or somebody that's, you know, suffered a trauma or has a dysfunctional home life, you know, to make better choices, you know, it starts much deeper than that. I mean, most addiction stems from trauma of some sort, whether it be childhood or adult trauma, and you know, to really just when a child is struggling, to, you know, have them feel comfortable asking for help, and that's really what it boils down to. Adults as well.
Yeah, and it's good to have you because you have this Residents in Recovery of Core Society. Let's talk a little bit about the things that you guys are doing. Obviously, Christmas is coming up. You've got the experience. You've gone through this, and you're a great help for people. What's going on right now? And you're doing something for Christmas, of course.
Yeah, we have a lot of stuff always going on. You know, we try and engage the community as much as possible. Yeah. The event coming up on December 23rd was actually arranged by the students at Reeves College in the Addiction and Social Worker program, which was a program that I took a few years back. And we work, you know, quite closely with Reeves. Catherine Hill that does the instruction there. She does some classes in our center. As well, we take a number of practicum students from Reeves College as well for people in that program. So, you know, we work very closely, and they've supported us huge, you know, with fundraising and different food drives and things like that over the past years. So, it's a great partnership that we have, and it's great to have them on our side.
And this event is called Be the Light Celebration, happening December 23rd, 7 p.m. How can people get tickets? Do you need tickets, or do you just, it's for everybody?
Anybody and everybody can come on down and show their support for, you know, those that we've lost to addiction. Yeah. We've had a number of overdose deaths in our city, and even deaths, you know, related to just that lifestyle in our community over the past few years. And it's just, you know, a way of remembering those people. You know, they lost their battle with addiction, and it is a disease, right? And it's not so easy just to get out of it. And we have a lot of, you know, loved ones still in active addiction in the city. And, you know, it's just to raise awareness, you know, break down that stigma, you know, show them that we do care. You know, as a community, we care about these people, and we want to show them that we do want them to get the help that is available.
Yeah. Such an incredible thing you're doing. We're running out of time. We could sit here and for a whole show and talk about it. We'd love to have you back in the new year as well too. Tyler, thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me.
Awesome.
Great.
Hey, it's Justin Marshall from Hot 101.3 and Boom 95.3 radio stations around the Lakeland. And here's what's happening around the Lakeland. We're here in Cold Lake. City Council chambers, as you see, lots of the mayors previous of Cold Lake. We have the mayor of Cold Lake right now, and happening is the State of the City. We had a lunch session earlier. We're going until 8 tonight at the Lakeland Inn. Craig, what is State of the City?
Well, what we wanted to do is we haven't gone to the public in a while, so it's been a while since we've done sort of an open house type of thing, but we want to bring everybody up to speed, look at what we're faced at with this current budget coming up. There's been some cutbacks in MSI funding and also the city's financial situation with the $349, but we're really going to bring people up to speed. What's been going on, say, since 2017 on the negotiations, and just provide people with information on some of the FOIP requests that we've done, but also show people what we've actually spent the money, how we've spent their tax dollars over the last few years, and then the projects going forward that we would like to build in the city of Cold Lake, and try to get the residents some feedback on some of the big projects. We have some big undergrounds right on Lakeshore Drive, right along the lake. We have over a $10 million project right on that capital bill right there.
Well, it sounds exciting. Hopefully everybody can come until 8 o'clock tonight. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And if you have an event you would like to feature on What's Happening, shoot me an email, jmarshall@stingray.com.
In studio with me is Councillor Stephanie Munro. Stephanie, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to pop in.
Well, thanks for having me, Josh.
Yeah, it's obviously been a busy fall season for you guys. What has been the busiest thing for you as a councillor? Was it the budget? Was it a couple of the stop states make during the summer at various events as part of the community? What kept you busiest this 2019?
You know, honestly, for me, it's been the engagement with the residents. I think that anything that we do and any decisions we make, I want to make sure that I'm engaging with our community. So, you know, whether it's a stop at the shopping store or wherever you are, a Your Voice night, you know, just constantly engaging with the residents of our community and getting their feedback just on general topics really is the part that I think is the most. I mean, you're always reviewing budgets and reviewing your policies and procedures and reviewing your agendas, but, you know, as far as the most time-consuming thing, I would actually say that it probably is engaging with the residents.
Has there been any particular surprises from engaging with residents in terms of a message they conveyed or feelings they had on a particular issue?
You know, in all retrospect, I think a lot of people do understand different things, for instance, tax increases or I guess the vast majority of people, they're on board with council. You always have your naysayers that aren't in support, and sometimes it's maybe a lack of knowledge and a lack of insight on what is actually happening. And I mean, it's a huge learning curve to actually get all of that information and to be able to understand it inside and out. So I think that is just we do actually have a lot of support. For most people, when they stop me in the grocery store or just want to say hello, even though I maybe don't recognize their face, I just want to let you guys know you're doing a really great job. You know, and that's a really good thing to hear.
Certainly is, especially this time of the year where there's so much stress around making sure the holidays are ready, making sure your finances are in order, because it's not just a situation where the budget needs to be in order, though you guys have approved the 2020 budget. It's also just everyone's own general finances is a big priority around this time of the year.
Absolutely, and you know, when I look back throughout the year, there's some things introducing the RAP program, so the Recreation Assistance Program. There's a lot of things that the city's done that maybe weren't spread out amongst the media or really, I guess, the general public they maybe know about but don't have as much information. So, you know, we have done things as a community and as a city council to try and incorporate the fact that, you know, maybe some people aren't financially doing as well as they were in the past. So introducing things like I said, like the RAP program and having that recreation accessibility at a reduced rate to individuals of low income, you know, we're looking towards the future, not necessarily trying to work backwards. So.
In addition to the RAP program, are there any other programs or policies that have been passed this year that you're particularly proud of that you council passed together?
You know, the RAP program was one that I think is a great program for us, but even just when I look at all the policies and procedures, you know, I don't necessarily see that sometimes we disagree on things, but I'm just particularly proud of the fact that we respect one another's decisions around that table. And even if we disagree, we can respect the fact that we disagree. And moving forward, we are one unified voice. And for me, that is something that I'm truly proud of as far as council goes. So,
what do you think will have the biggest impact on 2020 that you were involved with in 2019?
As far as 2020 moving forward, I think that obviously we have a new fire with their union negotiations and all of the building assessments moving forward. So we have a lot of big decisions to be making in 2020. The facilities, we just last night at Your Voice night heard from a lot of the community, the Martin Brown redevelopment area plan, that's going to have a big impact in 2020 for sure moving forward. It's nice to see, we have had some huge successes in terms of the wastewater treatment plant funding, and like a huge kudos out to Mayor Albers for everyone's constant working towards right on that. But Gerald did an amazing job at never setting back. He just kept pushing forward. So, that's something obviously that we're going to be working on in 2020, but it's nice to know that that funding's in place. But we have a lot of obstacles as a city moving forward. So when I look at things in different boards that I sit on Border City Connects, the library board, and other boards as well. And I think, there are a lot of challenges regardless. And I think for the library, even there is issues, and moving forward there's going to be issues that need to be addressed in 2020, and we definitely have a challenging year ahead, but something that I'm definitely looking forward to. So.
And now with the holiday season, what will you be watching at home with your family?
In terms of TV, or what are you just
TV,
watching?
movies, anything.
Oh, so
sports too, I guess.
Yes, Christmas is definitely a great time for our family. We usually spend it at home and head to the cabin for New Year's. But as far, we like to watch any Hallmark movies, Christmas classics, obviously, Elf. And it was funny because I got this shirt made and it says, "In a world full of Grinches, be a Griswold." And so my daughter says, "Griswold? Who's the Griswolds?
Oh, no.
Aren't they the Lampoons?" And I said, no. The movie's called National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, but their family's name is the Griswolds. So it's just that generational gap, right? So we just got our real Christmas tree on the weekend and got that all trimmed and decorated. So yeah, it's exciting and obviously a good time. We always try and give back a little bit to the community as well. So
thanks again for coming in studio.
Thank you so much, Josh.
Cheers.